Well, it's time for only the second World Test Championship final. India are going to feature in it for the second straight time, and they are going to be up against the best team in the 2021-23 World Test Championship cycle, but the team that they have beaten in their past 4 Test series. 2 at home, 2 away. India versus Australia is what is going to decide the winner of the 2021-23 World Test Championship cycle. And we will have the summit clash at the Oval. Joining me today in Express Delivery is my Indian Express colleague Venkata Krishna, and we are going to do a sort of a preview talk ahead of this big clash, how things are, how things can be in this 5-day test match, with a reserve, of course, for the rain. Venkat, it has a sort of Champions League final feel to it, right? It's the closest that cricket has been to have a sort of 2-year cycle and then a one-off final to decide a winner.
Rahul, I think you absolutely nailed it when you said compared it with the Champions League final, because it's like entire season is over, suddenly we have a break and then you have this final. So it's like little out of place, because in the sense like it comes not at the fag end of the season but at the start of a new season. So that is a bit of like, say, it's like a dampener, I would say. Like in Champions League, it comes at the fag end of the season after the league split of like or leagues gets done. Most of the season is wrapped around in March, and then you have like 2 months of IPL, and then just when the new season is beginning, actually it's already begun in England. Now you have this one-off test to decide the champion. So I think that is the only thing that I have like little concerned about the WTC World Test Championship final. Thing is, if the final is slotted in the month of March, when the season ends, I think teams would also be better tuned to play in the final. As against look at India, they're coming after like 2 months of T20s. And I don't think it's gonna be like a ideal preparation of sorts for them as well. And even Australia, yes, they are very fresh and all that, but they are also coming on the back of without much game time. So these guys have like given a lot. Australia and India almost have a similar domestic season as well as an international home season. So if they had played this final in the month of March, I think it would have been like a great thing. It would have been like everybody would have gone home happy. Hey, listen, we are done with it. I think that's what I would like to see in the next WTC cycle. The final should be in the month of March, not in June. After like a 2-month gap, after like, it's like suddenly you're just coming here playing one-off test. It doesn't just give that feel at all. Yes, you can build the anticipation and everything, but it just doesn't give the feel. Just like you said, it just gives like a one-off test.
Yeah, right. And you mentioned March, of course, which was the last time that these two teams faced off in the longer format. India, of course, emerged victorious 2-1 in that series. Wasn't the margin that many predicted, given the way India have played at home in test matches over the past few years. But this is going to be a different ball game, right? I mean, we all have seen that Ravichandran Ashwin YouTube video where we have gotten a sort of spoiler alert as to how the pitch is going to react. And the one thing we know for sure is that it's going to be bouncy.
Yes, it's going to be bouncy for sure, but I'm not really sure how it's going to seem at this point in time. And within England, you never know how the conditions change quickly. All it takes is like one cloud cover to completely change the entire condition. So it's going to be an interesting final as well in that sense, like because there is always bowlers are going to be in the game at all point and all junctures of the day. So England is one place where you can always say that the balance between the bat and ball is like completely like there's a good balance. And as far as going back to what it was in March, so the conditions were totally different. That's the thing again about the WTC final. Australia played most of the matches at home in completely different conditions. India did in different conditions. And now these guys are squaring off in a completely different conditions. And that too just in a one-off test. So I don't think it again just does justice to both the teams. Imagine if Australia, they have been easily the best team in the last WTC cycle, like you mentioned. And if they end up having one bad session, it's curtains for them. India could walk away with the title. So I think that's where like again like little bit of like improvisation is needed in terms of the WTC final alone. The entire concept of WTC is really good. It has like given new lease of life to test cricket, and it's like bringing out results in almost every other game. But to have one final, I don't think it just does justice to the league. Or you just finish it with the league. Whoever tops the league is the winner. That could be a case. But just one-off test, it just doesn't hold good. But again, coming back to the conditions, it's going to be like, I think the conditions are heavily loaded in favor of Australia. If it is India or in Australia, I think India would still fancy themselves to cross the line. But in England, especially coming after 2 months of IPL, it's going to be like really tough for the Indian batting order to get accustomed to the long format, because in the 2 months you have like been like always looking to score runs at all point in time, and suddenly you have to like, you're going to England where you have to like curb your instincts and then like play closer to the body and stuff. That's not going to come easily. Yes, they've had like a week preparation. I don't know whether batsmen will be able to undo everything they have done in the last 2 months for like in this 1 week. It's like maximum they would have like a 4-hour practice session at the most. So it's going to be a little challenging. So a lot rides on what if Pujara, Kohli can like use their experience and like hang in there and like get them to a competitive total somewhere over 350 and above. So we might have a chance, I believe. Or else, I think it's like Australia should start this test will start this test as favorites.
Yeah, and it's just all about one session. You mentioned it, and the last World Test Championship final, it did change pretty quickly for India, who were 2 wickets down at the beginning of the last day, and then the New Zealand pace attack just ran right through them, finished off the game on what was the reserve day, and I mean, the batters have got to be wary of that, especially in England. But, preparation is also something that, a lot of us associate with one particular Indian player, Ravichandran Ashwin, a lot. And you've, of course, written in extensive detail about how he has been preparing ahead of this final. He was, of course, a red hot topic of discussion the last time India toured England for a test series. Ahead of every toss, ahead of every match day, there would be this sort of a long talk as to why Ravichandran Ashwin needs to feature in the match or why he doesn't. And I guess it's again going to come into play as India try and figure out how many seamers they're going to play or how many spinners they're going to play in this final match.
I think as far as India is concerned, I think that is going to be the only headache. And like they did last time where they left the decision till the 11th hour, I think that's going to happen even here in the final. I think they will decide, leave it at the toss, take it till the wait till the toss and see how the pitch is. Groundsman share some more grass or not. I think they'll wait for those things. But unlike last time, India last time they had like, apart from Mohammad Shami and Mohammad Siraj, they had Ishan Sharma, they had Jasprit Bumrah as well, who could like give them the control with the ball. But with both not here this time, India left with just Mohammad Shami to have some sort of control with the ball. Yes, Siraj is also very attacking, but Siraj can be on the expensive side if he's like choosing to attack. So he can go for a bit of runs as well. So that is a bit of a worry. I think that's where I think India might think that, okay, let's bring in Ashwin this time. Yes, because Shardul Thakur can also go for runs, Umesh Yadav again. So it's like a bit of dilemma for the teams to have like whether to have Ashwin or not. But if you look at it, the conditions, if India's strong shoot over the last, again, even against Australia was like very lengthy batting order. The depth in the batting order is what rescued them against Australia, be it Jadeja, Ashwin and Akshar Patel. So if you can't play Akshar, India might be tempted to play someone like even Shardul Thakur in at like say 9. So that could be the only point of discussion at this point. So because it's like comes down to fine margins, and in England you always need some runs on board, and if the conditions are like extremely loaded up in favor of bowlers, I don't think you need 5 bowlers in the sense like 4 pacers. 3 pacers can do the job, and I think that's something even Australia will do. I think they will also go with 3 seamers. So I think there's like everything makes for a strong case for India to include Ashwin in the 11, whether they stick to or not, or whether they are like say like no, we don't need a extra spinner, because at the home team county team Surrey has been playing with only 1 spinner. So whether India do that, take that risk, I don't know. If they do it, I think that could potentially decide the outcome of the test.
Wow. No pressure. And no pressure is exactly what India head coach Rahul Dravid said when he talked about this summit clash. There's, of course, this talk of this long drought of trophies as far as India is concerned. It was a summer in England in 2013 that provided them their last ICC title. It is a summer in England in 2023 where they eye their next one, a World Cup year. there's obviously going to be pressure on this management, right, Venkat? I mean, especially given the fact that the last two T20 World Cup outings haven't really gone their way.
Definitely, Rahul. I think there will definitely be that is one pressure because Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid were brought in to end this ICC title drought. So there'll definitely be pressure. So I think it's again like one of the things with Dravid where he says like there is no pressure. That's what he usually comes across. Even with the India thing, he says like results doesn't matter, just a process. And then again, the sim again trying to do the same thing over here. But I think at this level, there is going to be pressure. If anybody is saying there is no pressure, you got to be kidding. And India, it's all that matters is results and what you do about it. Like compared to the last WTC cycle, I felt like in the first WTC cycle compared to the second, India performed a level down in the second cycle because they lost to South Africa, especially after taking a 1-0 series lead. So I wouldn't say like India have played the best cricket in the last WTC cycle. They have like been extremely lucky because their batting order was struggling for the majority of the season, and then they still ended up making the final thanks to a lower order contribution. So the pressure is going to be huge, and because if they don't end up with the title, I think India might be tempted to go have a fresh look at some of their batting, some of the batsmen, especially the likes of Pujara, Ajinkya Rahane, Rohit Sharma. I'm not sure whether with the next cycle beginning immediately after the current one in July in West Indies, I'm not really sure how they will like go about senior players in the next cycle, because among the batsmen, only Cody looks certain to go the distance. Rohit, again, he has some fitness issues. Pujara and Rahane both struggled in the previous cycle. Although they have like come back to form, I'm not sure whether they can like continue it for the next 2 years. So it's going to be like a bit of a gamble in that sense for India to take it forward. So for them, even including Ashwin, Jadeja, I think this will be like an ideal time for them to lift a title. It's like nothing like it because they have been the best test team in the last decade. So if they end up having a title like this, it's gonna look like really like a perfect round. I don't think anybody can say like they don't deserve it. They will deserve it like absolutely. So I think that sort of a pressure will always be there. Like one final thing where all of them can, because Ishant Sharma is already not part of the thing. Vridhiman Saha is gone. So to do it with these guys, it would be like outstanding.
Well, one thing's for sure, there are one too many storylines to follow as far as this World Test Championship final is concerned. And of course, we've all watched one too many T20 matches, so this will come as a sweet gift. Thank you so much, Venkat, for joining us. A huge shout out to our producer, Shashank Bhargav. And well, if you want to follow every inch of the World Test Championship final that is to come, every inch of what's happening in the world of sports, you know the drill. Log on to theindianexpress.com and stay tuned to the Express Sports Podcast. Thank you so much.